Okay. All right. Welcome to Rolling Out. This is, of course, oh, okay. Just a little bit of a technical difficulty. We're back and we're started. So, of course, Friday night reality check. Today is a very special reality check because, as I said, great weekend last weekend, getting ready for a hot weekend. But trust me, tonight's guest is going to help us kick off an amazing weekend. She is the queen of LA. She is the OG of Basketball Wives. I have been trying to get with Jackie Christie for years, and she is finally here as a guest for reality check. So please help me welcome the amazing Jackie Christie.
Hey,
Hello.
much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Like I said, I really have wanted to interview you for years. We're here in Atlanta and we don't always get you ladies from LA. We've interviewed Jennifer a few times, but I am excited to have you here because, like I said, you are the OG of the show. You've been there from the beginning. You consistently keep things popping. So we had to have you here, the Grand Dame, if you will. Had to have you here. How are you? How are you, Jackie?
I'm fabulous, busy, booked, having a good time, trying to mentor. I mentor young women and, enjoying the show. We've been doing this show for 10 years.
Oh, I know. How excited were you, or were you expecting the show to come back and for you guys to kind of pick right back up where you were before?
You know what? I was, and I always am. And I feel like this show has so much life in it still. It's so many exciting things that we're just now starting to scratch the surface on. And Shawne, my girl Shawne just had her wedding, and we were all
Yes.
there. Me and Evelyn and her. And it's amazing how everything has come full circle. Shawnee's now married to a pastor. And like, what I'm saying, it's so much that's happened on the show, but I knew it would be back and it'll be back again as well.
I love it. I love it. You are the one to me that always believes in what you guys are doing. And no matter how bad the drama gets and everybody, regardless of what has happened, you are the one that always wants everybody to stay connected. Do you find your role kind of has stayed the same, or do you come into the show knowing that you really do want to keep the younger women together and make sure that everybody stays intact so you guys can keep moving forward?
You know what? I love that question. I feel like I've always been this person, and we have ladies from all ages on here. And that's what I love so much about our show. You get the, generation like my daughter. She's the youngest one. She's not officially a cast member, but Shanny's, 29 years old. And then we got, women of all ages all the way through. And I love it. And there's a lot of women my age group, a little bit younger than us and a little bit younger than that. And I try to, lead by example for one. And for two, I am the glue that keeps this thing going. And sometimes I wasn't here. Would they fall apart? Would the wheels continue to spin? And I don't think so.
Yeah.
I and not because I'm doing anything different, but I really do fight hard for every woman to be happy, to chase her dreams, to love on each other. You know what I mean? And I get the, short end of the stick a lot of the times, but it's okay. It don't change nothing.
Well, I want to ask you this on that note, because I know, you mentor women and we saw you bring all the ladies together for your podcast, which I want to ask you about. But I want, when I was growing up and, there was this idea that we would look to women that were ahead in life, that were experienced to explain. I feel like nowadays there's a lack, like there's not a lot of women, older women or more mature women, like myself, that actually go back and try to say, hey, let me pull you to the side. Like, that's not how you do that. I mean, I don't know if we still have that. I used to look forward to that because that wisdom, I wanted to have a part of that. And now that I'm in that space, I'm like, I need to be doing that for younger women. But I just don't, it feels like our culture doesn't really support and celebrate wisdom and experience. What do you think about how younger women respond to that, that wisdom sometimes that you want to share with them?
You know what? I think that this generation in general is struggling. I feel like, we hear it a lot when people say, oh my God, they don't talk on the phone. They don't call each other. They text, and that kind of thing. And having daughters,
Mhm.
I see that is the case a lot. And I'm from Seattle, Washington, and we don't put so much on it as younger, medium, older. We put it in women in general,
Yeah.
females, girls. We teach our kids from a very young age, and I was taught at a very young age that you respect yourself, you love on other people, you treat others how you want to be treated. And so for me, it's difficult when I'm going against that kind of mentality of, I'm hard-headed, or I know the answer, or I can do it. I feel like I can teach them a lot. They feel like they can teach me a lot, and together we can learn and we can be better. And it's a saying that I grew up with, and that's each one teach one.
Yeah.
Period. Doesn't matter. I don't give them no excuses. I don't care if you're 25. I don't care if you're 45. We're all out here together. We're on this show. I've done a lot of what you're trying to do, and then some of you have done things that I haven't done yet. Let's
Right.
learn. I'm not going to change. I don't make excuses for it, and I don't apologize. I want the best for each of these women.
I like that. I agree with that because you're right. It's really about just perspective and experience. So you can, some people experience things early in life, others, it's later, but it's the idea of womanhood and sisterhood.
Hey.
Now, occasionally, actually not occasionally, often on the show, there's tension between the ladies.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like you're a part of bringing that together. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you may be a part of highlighting that.
Yes. Right. And that's real. But I'm a realist, though. I swear,
Yeah.
I'm gonna. If it's some drama, I'm gonna bring it to the forefront. How can we grow if we don't get to the nitty gritty of whatever it is, whatever the problem is? And a
Yeah.
lot of times, understood and situations are misconstrued. So I'm accused of being the shit starter. Oops, I'm sorry. The starter, or Jackie's bringing the drama, this and that. It's not that. I've always been that person. I've got 5 sisters. I grew up with 5 sisters, and I've always been that person in the family, and 3 brothers that would be like, we need to have family meetings every Friday, and everybody needs to put their differences on the table, and that's how we grow as a family. So I
Mhm.
do, ladies, and sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't, but you can't be around me and brush things under the rug or be fake. I don't do well with that.
Well, that's good for us to know. Jackie's been doing this for years, long before VH1 tapped into her. She's been bringing people together and confronting conflict is
Oh,
what she does. So
that,
that is
that's
a good thing. Let's talk about this podcast because this is an opportunity for you to, kind of share what you guys are dealing with on the show. We see the show, it's a limited time period. Editing happens, so I'm sure there's a lot that we don't get a chance to hear. So, what is your goal with your podcast? Like, what do you want women to see in your story, and even in some of the ladies' story that we don't see on the show?
You know what? My goal for the podcast was really, I did a radio show for 4 years. My husband and I, we had listeners from all over the world, and we loved it. It was a thing that we started doing on Saturdays, and it became a really big thing. Well, then when we got really, really busy with our careers, we couldn't do it anymore. So my podcast, I wanted to bring it back. I wanted to do it as a variety show. I'm known out here in Hollywood for getting a lot of young talent in Hollywood started. Now you look up, they're doing big things. I don't really put their names out there a lot, but I really wanted a bridge for that, so I can have performances on my podcast. I can deal with tough issues. I can talk cultural events. I travel. I go to whoever the guest is into their life. So if it's somebody that loves golf, I'll go play a round of golf with them and do the interview there. So it's a little different. It's fun. It's exciting. You get to see that person in a different way and in a different light. So that's where the podcast started, and now it's starting to morph into even something more deeper, and that is a way for me to connect with women around the world. It ties into my mentorship, so I want to use it as that vehicle as well. And with basketball wise, the show is my life. It's what as far as my career goes and what I really love and believe in. And I'm so proud of VH1 for being willing to help me to tell this story and to put my podcast out there in a way, and then to share with the other women. We all got something in common, and that's what I wanted them to understand. You can say, you can make up stories about me. You can try to act like I'm this and I'm that. But at the end of the day, we come back together. We sit down at this podcast and we share and we teach others and we, inspire, hopefully, and motivate. And that's what we did. And it was a success the other day. And I will continue that.
I like that. Well, I want to get into some of the things, some of the topics that were discovered. If you guys are just tuning in, we are talking with the grand dame of basketball wives. Jackie Christie is hanging out with us on Friday. Yes, April says Jackie is the GOAT. Edna says, please tell the networks to stop portraying Black women in such a negative light. Always contention between them. They're Black women that truly get along and work well together for years. There definitely is something to be said for the fact that you all are able to, even if you do disagree, and there have been some huge disagreements, some tables ran across and things like that, but you guys do come back together and you're able to do this. And I know that filming with a group of women is not an easy thing. So the fact that you guys are able to do it, look amazing doing it, means that there is commonality there. There is a true, bond. Let's talk about this season, because I want to get into some of the conversation on your podcast. And what were you wanting some of the women to share? What do you want, some of your castmates to kind of deal with or talk about that you feel like may help them to progress through their situation?
All the ladies on the show, and I won't give away what's happening on the actual Basketball Wives show, because we've got a lot of episodes to go. And thank you to everybody that's tuning in already. And we're just touching the tip of the iceberg. So it's a lot that you're going to find out. But everybody's going through a different stage in their life, a different thing in their life. Some are divorced. A lot of them are, girlfriends or ex-girlfriends, or, some got kids with the player. And I wanted them to all share so that they could see there is a common ground. You still have been affiliated. You still have touched the surface and been in the world of basketball. You're not alone on some of the things you're struggling with. They all told different stories, different sides. Like with Malaysia, I'm close with her and I know a lot about her, but some of the other ladies might not have known that she felt that her husband, treated her as his punching bag, not literally punching, but in a way of him going through whatever emotions he went through. And, I was saying on the podcast, a lot of it got cut out because I know they only have a certain amount of time that they can allow each scene to play out. But I was happy that they showed the different women and their different perspectives. You've got Brandi there who done, Ayana Fix My Life, and now she's here and she's sharing her story. And you've got, Nia and Noria and just all the different women. British with, talking about how it's hard to be with a basketball player, because British is, from St. Louis. We call her the little wildcat in the group. And, she's got a different story. She's never been married to Lorenzo. They've, had promise rings and close to stories even different. So there's women out there that I could identify with her as well. And I feel like there's a lot of ladies and a lot of our audience that want to know, what is it like? What is it really like to be in the world of basketball? We see it, post about it. We see the different basketball wives out there going to the games and stuff, but we want to know, do they struggle like us? Do they have the same issues we have? Is it difficult? And so we talked all about all of that. I will be posting the full podcast, but when I tell you it's a lot, and I'm so excited to put it out to the world, the rest of it in conjunction with VH1. So it'll be out soon and I'll announce it, and I want everybody to watch because it's going to really be mind blowing.
I'm sure. I can't wait to see it as well. I do want to ask you that because I think when the show first started over 10 seasons ago, there was a fascination. There are so many young women that aspire to find a man that is a pro athlete, especially, basketball or football, or, if you're in Atlanta, you may want to get a soccer player because it's a lot of green there too. But what would your, I don't know if it's advice or what is your thoughts on women that are strategically attempting to catch a guy so that they can live this lifestyle that we see you all enjoying on VH1? Do you think that is a admirable goal, or do you think that there are things that they don't realize? Sometimes you be careful what you ask for because you just may get it. What is your perspective on the women that are actually like studying and trying to figure out how they can catch that ball player?
I would just say I'm gonna pray for you for one, because I don't think anybody should have that type of an agenda. I feel like if you meet a man and he has happened to be a basketball player and you guys fall in love, that's amazing. But I just feel like for me, the basketball players are family to me. Once you get into the world of basketball and you become a wife or a significant other, and I live and breathe it. On top of that, my husband's one, my son plays basketball. It's a family and it's a brotherhood and a sisterhood. So am very protective of them. And I feel like they are human beings. They deserve to be treated right. They deserve to be loved and respected. And if they meet a woman and, they want to do something nice for them, more power to them. But if it's somebody that's doing it for a reason or a plan or a strategic effort in, I'm going to do this so that I can benefit from it, I don't sit kindly with that. And I don't think they should do that to themselves either. Respect yourself enough to know that if you're a nice person, and a lot of people, they're not going to pick you because you're beautiful or you're gorgeous or you got the perfect body or big boobs or nothing like that. If they love you or they like your personality, it really don't matter. Keep yourself clean, treat others nice. The man will want to do for his wife or his fiance or his girlfriend or baby's mom anyway. So that's how I that situation. And I've never encouraged women to do that. I've had friends over the years, please, Jackie, introduce me to any of Doug's friends. Can you meet me? Teammates, please, everybody in the league, can you help me? And I tell them, and I've gotten into arguments, literal arguments, like, why don't you hook me up? And it's like, oh, that's like hooking somebody up with my brother that my mother had or my son. It's not right. Like, why would I do that if I think that he would be nice for you and you would be nice for him, and it's a natural, organic thing? I have no problem making the introduction, but I'm not to set up anybody like that. That's not what I'm
looking for a ball player. I respect that, but I can understand why people would ask you, because your marriage has lasted through professional basketball and reality TV, Jackie. So
I never thought of it that way. You're right.
That is real. Like I know so many people from working in the entertainment industry that, that's difficult on a marriage. A lot of times there's a lot of obstacles. There's a lot of other women. There's a lot of people coming, trying to get in your head, trying to drive a wedge. But then reality TV seems to have even, there's even fewer marriages that survive reality TV. So what is the secret, Jackie? What is the secret that you all have been able to? No, you know a secret. You know something. You know something, because you guys are together and get married every year. Do you still do that?
Yes, we actually are getting married in about, I don't know how many days, July 8th. So I don't know how many days that is away, but
not many. I'm going to play this little clip, and then Jackie's going to give us the secret, because we want the secret, Jackie. Everybody, I'm sure other reality stars want to know the secret, because there's so many. I was talking to a young lady the other day that is going on a show, and one of the biggest issues is this going to tear apart my marriage? We see it happen over and over again. So somehow you have gotten the blueprint that works. So you guys, this is just a short clip of one of Jackie's many weddings. So we're going to watch this clip and come back and hear from the OG herself what has managed to be the glue that's kept this marriage together.
Doug, you take this amazing woman once again to be your lawfully wedded wife?
I do.
Jackie?
I do.
I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your amazing
We did it, baby. 26.
Unbelievable. 26. What year are you guys on now?
27. Yep, that 27. Was last one. And 27. We've been together 30. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So what made you decide to get married every year?
You know what? He asked me on a Friday. We called his agent because he wasn't in the league yet, and we were like, okay, we're getting married. He's like, wait, you gotta get a marriage license, blah 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 blah. So by that Tuesday, we got married, and about 100 of our friends and family that was in town last minute came, and we said, the ones that didn't get to make it out, we're gonna renew our vows next year. We'd love to invite all of you, and we had such a good time doing that and bringing everybody together and just sharing in our love and family love. It became a tradition, and after that, we just did it every single year, and we love it. We planned them all over the world, and this one we're more than likely going to get married in the US because Doug's coaching. So yeah.
Okay. Wow. Now it seems like, because I watched a compilation, there are compilations on YouTube of all your weddings, and it seems like you're kind of nervous every time. Are you really the blushing bride every single time?
Every single time. And I just got my dress recently, and now I want a different dress. I go through the whole, I'm bridezilla some years it's a little smoother, and it's so exciting. I am literally marrying my best friend every year. It is the most amazing thing. I'm so blessed, and I love it. Beautiful. And I feel like he feels the same way. Yeah.
So how do you guys besides having a grandiose wedding every year, that probably keeps you in that in that vein of like, we're excited to be married. But what advice can you give to people? Because like I said, we live in a culture where people don't make it to 27 years, in marriage, especially not in a marriage under, in such a public forum and platform. And, like I said, basketball is one thing. We know athletes have a lot, usually there's a lot of other stuff happening, but reality TV is definitely really difficult on marriages as well. How do you guys stay focused and stay best friends through all the noise that happens around you?
You know what? I would say cultivating our relationship. We communicate. We have a lot of respect for each other. We know where we come from. We're both from Seattle. And, we didn't have really a rough childhood, but we had a harder childhood. And we respect and honor, our parents, our family. We treat each other how we want to be treated. But mainly, I think it's the communication. If you don't know what the other person's thinking, it's easy to start building resentment. You end up, getting into arguments. You can misread something. So we're connected. People say, oh, you connected at the hip. When I'm not with my husband, we either on the phone or we're texting or I know what's going on. So I always feel his presence with me. I don't feel, so I don't go through what some people, when we're apart a few days or he's working on the road with the team and I'm in my city, I can be with him like that. All I have to do is book a ticket, or he'll book me one and I'll just come join him wherever he's at. So we open our lives up to each other, full access to anything and everything. So when you have that builds your partnership first and foremost. So I got my person in this world. It's me and him back to back against the world, and make sure everybody's good. And then it's fun being with them. We're silly. We love watching movies. A lot of our hobbies that we didn't have that was alike at first, they are now, especially after together so long. He loves golfing. I go with him. We are there to support each other in anything that we love and desire. That builds a love that you can't even explain it. When I was modeling, my husband would literally come to my modeling shoots and have the kids in the car, teaching them, reading to them, all that, while I'm in there doing my photo shoots. Like, that's how we do. When he was, doing training camp, playing, for the Toronto Raptors and all the different teams, I was at training camp. We'd be in the room and they have 2-a-day practices. So they get up and go for 4 hours, come back, sleep for a few hours and go back. And made sure I handled everything through his whole NBA career. You need to talk to my husband. You need to send him faxes, whatever you need. I'm there. And I supported him 100%. And it was that he forced me to do it. It was what I chose to do. And I said, once he slowed down with the basketball portion, then I would pursue some of the things I want to do, because I want to be the best wife and mother and sister and friend and mentor that I can be. And, entrepreneur, I was a strong entrepreneur then too, so a lot of the basketball wives would order clothes from me because I was doing fashion. Like, it's just, our worlds are so combined. I think that's the main thing. And we communicate very well with each other.
Yeah. Did you guys ever go through, because getting married every year, I can't imagine if there was a year that you were in a bad place. It's like, do we still plan this wedding?
If you were the first person that has ever asked me that, I swear. But see, you understand. And there was one or two where we argued on the day we was getting married in the morning. Okay. But we still got married. We were still hugging and kissing, loving each other and cracking up. We were in Napa that year, and we got married in Napa. It was just he and I that year. I think we were arguing that morning because we weren't really arguing, but we had went to do a wine tasting for brunch, and we were getting married at 6 that evening. And the woman was flirting with him, and it irritated me. I didn't like it. And I was thinking, and I said to him, honey, if you wouldn't have been so nice, maybe she wouldn't have been flirting. And he took offense. I took offense because I'm thinking, you should have told her, type of thing. It was silly. And then we ended up laughing about it. But that was 1 year. And, never once thought about, though, should I marry him or I don't want to marry him. That's never crossed my mind. I look forward to it every single year. And no matter what, we've had big weddings, small weddings, weddings on boats, weddings everywhere. Surprise wedding in Portugal. That was on VH1. The wedding in Vegas, she with cancer and she couldn't come. She
was on Skype. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my specialist wedding ever in life, but it is what it is. And I feel like we just love it, and every other year we take turns. And this is my year to plan it. So me and my daughter is in the process right now planning it. Yeah.
So I want to ask you, I'm just going to ask real questions. And you guys in the audience, of course, we are talking with Jackie Christie from Basketball Wives. Please, if you have questions for Jackie, make sure you put them in the chat. I wanted to do this conversation live because, number one, I wanted to talk to her for so long, but I wanted to make sure that you guys could ask questions for Jackie if you have them. So make sure you put those in the chat, and I'll make sure to get to as many as we can while we have her here. So you mentioned that was one of the issues with women. I'm gonna be honest with you, Jackie. I've always, working in entertainment, I've been asked out by a few guys that were professional ball players early on in my career. And I always was like, absolutely not, because
Yeah.
I don't even want that smoke. Like that smoke
Right.
is not for me. I'm not built like that.
Yes.
I went out one football player. It was a lot happening at the game. I was like, I'm not built for this because I'm going to have a problem.
Mhm.
How did you deal with the women? Because we know, like I said earlier, there are a lot of women that have it is their job to
Yeah.
try to infiltrate,
Yeah.
a nice looking nice looking, professional ball player, even if he's married or not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what is your advice to women that may be thinking, you know what, I don't know about this guy because I don't want to deal with all that. We know I don't believe that men can outrun women that want I'm gonna put this the nice way because
Right.
it's not we're not after dark yet, but I don't
Right.
think men can outrun when a woman wants them, right? They just can't seem
There
to outrun the kitty cat. The kitty cat always catches them.
it always wins.
Always wins. So how have you met? How did you deal with that as a woman? That's just real, like a real woman question. Like, I know there's a lot of women, your husband was successful and attractive.
Yeah.
Gotta be a lot of women after him. How did you
Yeah.
deal with
You know what? It's funny you say that, and I still deal with it. And him, coaching, and Doug is in excellent shape. He eats well. You know what I mean? He's just really, and I look at him and I'm like, really, you're mine? Like I'm always, but I
it?
feel communication, talking to him, letting him know if something bothered me. That was early on in our relationship. And then, Doug is a very strong man. He will let you know. And by him, he's quiet and sweet, but people didn't understand that when he makes his mind up, he's a Taurus and he's a man's man. He means it. So they blame me. There was a woman years ago in Toronto that was very flirtatious with them, and he stopped it. He was not interested. He said, I'm married and I wouldn't disrespect my family like that. Well, it was a story made up that Jackie won't let him interview with reporters. And that just kicked off a firestorm of people, media all over the world. Everybody from, Good Morning America all the way, 60 Minutes. Everybody wanted to talk to this woman that's married to this professional basketball player that, for one, travels with the team. Two, she won't let him interview with reporters and all this. And it's like, that is not true. Do I want somebody flirting with my husband? Absolutely not. And I even said that on numerous occasions. People Magazine did write-ups. Everybody. No woman wants nobody flirting with their husband.
True.
But he was the one that said, stop. So when she continued to flirt with him and try to be in his face, he found another way. He said, I'm not going to argue with her. He just would go into a different room in the, training room and get dressed. He would take his shower and stay in the bathroom and get dressed. And where other players, they walk out with their towel on and, it's female reporters and stuff. I never had a problem with it. Yeah. But, disrespect me. She was lucky I wasn't there to see the flirt, because then it would have been a problem. And then you do have to say about Jackie. But it was stuff like that. And me and Doug would just talk. Early on in our marriage, the first 3 weeks in, I said, let's do this thing. And he said, what? And I said, I want to do this thing called confession session. And he said, what's that? And I said, you sit on that couch. I sit on this couch. Now you're getting some exclusive information here.
I love it.
So I told him, I said, I want you to tell me, get you some wine. And he, because he doesn't drink alcohol, but he'll have some wine. And I had, me some tequila. And I said, we're going to talk about anything and everything that's happened in our life. Any questions that I have for you, because you've had, you in college, you had girlfriends and different things like that. And I'm open to answer any questions you have for me. And we're going to confess everything right here, right now. We ain't going to hide nothing. Nobody going to leave here angry. We're going to put it all on the table. And he was like, okay. And it was hard at first. The first 20 minutes was awkward. But then after that, the conversation started flowing and he was just telling me everything. Did it hurt? It hurt me to my core, but it didn't hurt in a way like I'm mad. It hurt me like, oh my God, these other women actually made my husband happy, went on lunch dates with him. But I also learned a lot about him. And I learned about things that he had enjoyable experiences with in his life. So I was able to then adapt that to some of the things that I wanted to do with him, you know what I mean? Type of thing. And I told him about me, and certain things I said, though, upset him. So he took it to another level. He
decided,
like,
men don't really like that. Men are not able to handle.
And he couldn't handle it. So he made me call the latest one, the one he said, which one out of the 3 you told me about did you really like? And I said, that one. He said, which one would you see yourself with if we weren't together? I said, that one. He said, get him on the phone. And had me call him 3 o'clock in the morning.
You called him?
It's 3 o'clock in the morning here. He's like, that's okay. He in the West Coast. It's 12 o'clock there. And I'm him. So he's on one phone. I'm on another. He said, and tell him you married and you would never talk to him. I was like, this is not necessary. But I did. And it cracked me up because, through that confession session, it opened up communication to me and Doug in a different way. And we can talk about anything under the sun. We don't talk about that no more. But I encourage people in relationships, whether you've been together a long time or a little bit, have a confession session. A lot of us, and we have questions we want to ask our guy, but some women are afraid to ask. They don't want to be looked at in a certain way or looked at as jealous, or they're being too nosy or whatever. And men sometimes will, feel more comfortable if you just give them the opportunity, but you can't get mad though. You have to let them say it. And then you go in the closet and cry, or go call one of your girls, or go take a ride in your car, but don't let him see the anger, because they'll close off to you.
Yeah.
Really want this because you want to further your relationship along, and that's if you need that. And I really feel like most couples do.
They do that. See, we are getting the gems from Jackie and I. This is why I want to have this conversation. That's awesome. And because it's two things: it's creating a safe space, a genuinely safe space. And most men don't. They know their woman is not a safe space, because she's gonna ask you a question. She's gonna penalize you. I'm guilty of that. My husband be like, no, I already know. That is great. That's really good advice. Now I want to ask you, I saw a meme that said, it was a Instagram viral post with a young lady saying, in order to make sure that your man stays faithful, you have to make sure that you guys are intimate every single day. Like you need to be doing something, either doing the whole thing or doing a little something just for him. You need to make sure you do something every day. How often do you think, how much is physical intimacy, and that continuous physical intimacy, how important is that to keeping you guys on track all the time, so that there aren't gaps in that communication? Because intimacy is a big deal, and that's one of the issues that a lot of marriages end up struggling with.
I love it. You're touching on all the important things. I wrote a book called Sexual Relations, a His and Hers Guide to Finding Greater Intimacy, for that very reason. And I had like 12 or 13 different celebrity friends and just friends of mine that I felt had interest in stories share in there what they're looking for, male and female perspective. And I feel intimacy is the core of every relationship, but intimacy isn't always sexual. It is getting up and making me some breakfast, or asking me, do I want a Starbucks, or cleaning up something that normally is my chore to do, that I normally do, or whatever. And I feel like communication is the greatest form of intimacy, because when you're able to talk, you're able to feel good. Women are mental creatures. If you make us feel uncomfortable, or we don't feel you appreciate us, or we don't feel you think we pretty, or you done complimented some other woman and didn't tell me my nails look right, all that carrying it all through the day. So by the time night come, we not feeling loving and sexually attracted to you. We just want to get into bed and go to take our showers, get in bed and go to sleep. We don't that kind of feel. But if you make that woman feel appreciated, and you make her know that she's beautiful to you, and you ain't got eyes for nobody else, even if you do, because some of them do, you're going to get the best. You're going to get 20 times the version of that woman. She's going to go out her way to make sure you're happy and satisfied. And I feel like sex isn't something that, even if you do it 20 times a day, if he sees something else that he wants or she wants, she's still going to do it. That's what it is. I feel like if you can get mental and physical connections going, emotional connection going, you'll be okay. And there could be times when you don't have sex for a week or 2 weeks, but that other stuff is there. You guys are together. You're intimate. You're doing things they love to do, whatever that thing is. And being able to read them. One thing my husband tells me is, you read me well, and I'm giving away some of the secrets. So any of you women out there that think you're gonna talk
They
to none,
picking them up. They're picking. Edna said, "Teach, Jackie, teach." We are picking them up. I'm picking them up. I don't know if they're picking. I'm picking them all up.
no,
Every single one. That's the reality check for tonight, because the problem I had with that viral meme is that,
yeah,
I've been living long enough to know if a man, you could do everything you want. You could be the freakiest woman on the planet. But if he sees something else and you guys are not on that level,
yeah,
it's still going to happen. Like, and then you're going to feel stupid because you done all this extra stuff and
yeah.
still got cheated on. So it's not just about the sex, but I love the idea of it being the mental and physical all being in alignment. That's on point.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And he said, one thing you've always done that I really appreciate is you kind of perceive how I'm feeling, and I'll do something. Like if I feel like my husband's job, for example, he's working and he's, he needs an outlet. Maybe that outlet ain't me. I'm woman enough and wife enough to know, and I love him enough to know that maybe I take a step back for a couple of days and encourage him to do more fun stuff with his friends. I mean, as women, I know a lot of ladies say, no, he needs to be with me, but that's true. But I guess we've been together a long time as well. I want him happy in all areas. So try to make sure that your mate is fulfilled in other areas as well. Sometimes you're not going to be what fulfills that need. It might be guy time, going golfing. My husband's not a partier, so I'm blessed in that way. He doesn't like to be in situations where there is promiscuous behavior that happens a lot of times. Everybody is there to have a good time. It's alcohol involved. People are flirting. People are getting to know each other. That could be the fuel for something to go. And he doesn't, one thing about it is we don't put ourselves in that kind of position, or kind of predicament. There's a lot of ladies are always, and he's charming. So they're flirting, and some of them cross the line a little bit, but he stops it. I don't have to. And that's intimate, because he knows that would upset my wife, and that's not what I want either. So I'm gonna nip it in the bud. So I don't have to be worried that somebody is gonna get too far with him, type of thing. So
I love that. And that's the thing. I can understand why you guys have been married this long, because when you hear a wife say, I care about his happiness, even if it's not me, that's huge. And I think a lot of women aren't mature enough to be able to understand that concept. Like, I can't be his everything, just like he can't be my everything. And I trust him and I trust our relationship enough to let him do what makes him happy. Not some other woman, but other things that, feed him. So with that being said, I want to talk about the situations on the show, because one of the things that just happened, we saw the situation with Angel, and everybody was expecting a proposal. The proposal did not happen, and she felt embarrassed. And I was like, you know what? It's not even like, it was expectations that everybody else around her that were kind of putting on her, and maybe she had those expectations as well. But what do you feel about that situation? Because I think that a lot of times women are so focused on, give me a ring, give me a ring, give me a ring, and this other stuff that you're talking about, they haven't even thought about yet. So do you feel like everyone should have really been upset and kind of hyping up the fact that she didn't get a proposal when they felt like it was time for her to?
No, I think that first of all, nobody should expect anything in another person's relationship. Rock is amazing. When I tell you, some of it got cut out, but when I first met him at Angel's store that day, and we met face to face, I was blown away by him that very day. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be your husband someday. I'm telling you. And I've told probably 5 women that is actually married to their dream guy now that thought, there's no way. We've been together 10 years, or there's women still in his life, but they are now happily married. So I said, he's going to be your husband. He loves you. So I just felt like everybody kind of getting upset wasn't smart, but they care about her. They wanted her to get the proposal. And I didn't think it was necessarily a proposal. I thought it was some diamond earrings or something like that. I don't know why I didn't, I never got upset. I just thought it was a sweet gesture. He was spoiling his baby's mom, his fiance. I call him fiance, and he was doing something sweet for her. So that got blew out of proportion, I think.
Yeah. Do you think that, you just mentioned that a lot of times women, we have like a formula, like you shouldn't be with someone X amount of years if he hasn't proposed. What do you think that formula is? Because it seems like you don't really aspire to that belief of you can't, why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free, that whole old school, you keep on giving it up, girl, he ain't gonna marry you. What was your advice to Angel, that we might not have seen in that situation? It's obvious he loves her, but what do you think about women staying in a situation if they haven't got the ring and they really want it?
You know what? I would say if you love that man and he loves you, and Angel knows what her relationship is with Rock better than anybody. And me and her have had, a lot of private conversations. I won't disclose those, but I will say in general, my advice is always, he loves you. And she always says, thank you, Jackie. And yeah, he does. And I love him. And like, he matches her. I tell her, you guys are yin and yang. He fits you perfectly. Like, it's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. And I said, Angel, you need somebody funny. You need somebody that can take charge, somebody that don't take you too serious. Because Angel can, she can be a lot. All of us can. And I said, he loves you. So she knows.
Yeah.
She knows. I think he will put that ring on there someday.
Yeah. He didn't like the fact that other ladies were meddling in the business.
He did not.
That kind of pissed him off. And you made sure that he was a part of that conversation. Did you think that they were wrong for doing that? What was your reason for bringing that conversation up so that he knew what was happening, behind his back, so to speak?
Yeah, I just feel like with a couple, when you are a couple, you are one. Even if you're boyfriend and girlfriend, you are together. And there wasn't no reason. I can't do the fake stuff. And there would be wrong for me to come to your house. We was, that scene was about an hour and a half long, but it gets down to a little bit. So we talked about everything under the sun. We laughing and talking. I'm eating their donuts and drinking their coffee and stuff and getting extra sugar. There would be no reason for me to be sitting in their house smiling and giggling in their face knowing that this conversation took place. But I also knew that I was doing it at a good intention, and I believe that's what Duffy was doing as well. I need to find my friend is okay. Angel told me some years back on the show, you should have talked to me, you should have told me. So I wanted to make sure we don't never have that problem again. Look at her, Angel, she's also, getting up there in years, as well. And she wants to settle down and have a family. And, she's got her kids. Rock's got his son. And she's like, okay, I'm ready. But I don't think Angel's pushing for a wedding. I think she's more or less like, I love you. You love me. Respect me. Let's respect our thing and build together. But, right, she is a celebrity too. All of us are. And the world is looking. So that might make her feel a little bit of pressure. But I wanted him to hear what was being said right along with Angel. I don't want no stories getting misconstrued. And it was more a question, not I heard this and this and this. And it was more discussed on what was heard. But it was stuff that was said. And that's why he got so angry. I know it looked like he was just mad because of the ring thing, but it was deeper than that. And I'll leave it there. But it's it's okay.
Yeah. Someone asked, Edna asked, do you think that many relationships can possibly outgrow one another? Do you believe in that?
I do. I feel like they can sometimes, but I feel like if you really want it and both of you guys are engaged, you can bring anything back from the brink of disaster. No matter girlfriends that's been with their man for 8-9 years, and it's like he doesn't want to commit, he wants to be with his friends more than me, all of those kind of things. There's a way to turn all of that around. And I tell him all the time, ask him, what are they doing, what kind of things are they doing? And maybe you learn some of those type of hobbies, and then you can do it with him. You make it fun for him to do it with you, he gonna pick you 50% of the time anyway. And before you know it, you'll be 70%, then you'll be 90%, then his friends will be trying to figure out how they can do things with you and him.
See how Jackie keeps giving us that is the type of wisdom that you get from someone that has been there and done that marriage for that length of time. That's why I'm like, when I got married in October, but I'm like, I like to talk to people who have been able to maintain, because I want to know how they did it. And the advice is so different when a person has been, it's that calm down is, it's calm, but it's like, these are real things that you need to do to make sure that everybody is happy, not just the wife, not just the husband, but that there's an actual quality in the relationship. I can talk to you about marriage all night. Honestly, I forget about basketball wives, but I know we're here to talk about the show. What about some of the other ladies? I know British earlier this season kind of wanted you to not meddle in her relationship and that kind of thing. What do you think about some of the ladies who have an issue when you do try to, help them or give them advice, and they may not always be as receptive to it?
Well, I laugh because I'm like, okay, stay off my phone all hours of the day and night asking for advice. Two, everything I tell you always ends up being correct. I told her she loves Lorenzo and he loved her. What did she just say the other day? It's already public, so we can say it.
Yeah.
She said, you love him. I know
Yeah.
you. I've been knowing you a long time. I brought British to the group. So I'm
Yeah.
like, and acting like it's this when you know you love that man. But I feel like British and Lorenzo's situation is so funny. It's volatile,
Yeah.
meaning they're both high strung and they're both, they get at each other, but the love is so passionate at the same time too. So I think they'll be okay. And they got a little dashy in there. So I don't take it personal when she say, no, Jackie, no, no, no. First of all, I'm going to continue to give you advice because you need it and you want it.
There
And you
you
can
go.
think whatever. We know the truth. And then as far as
Mhm.
same thing. I don't meddle. I get paid to talk to you guys. On
I
top of
love it.
I mentor,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Meaning
Yeah.
I women outside of the group. And I've always done that. And I can be quiet and sit over here and relax and live my life and all of that. Or I can answer your questions when you come. Now I
Yeah.
can't how it's put out to the world. I know what I'm doing. It's always good intentions and I know it's wanted.
That's there you go. Another thing I wanted to ask you about was Brandi and Shawne actually, had an issue. I didn't know if they were going to be able to work that out.
Yeah.
Were you happy to see that they were able to, so that Brandi could be a part of the show again, and that was able to kind of be squashed? Because it's like it's one thing when everyone else is fighting, but when you go in with Shawne, it's like you will
Shawne
not
is
be back here.
the sweetest woman. I crack up when people say that because she don't bother nobody. And happy. When me and Shawne was together at the store and she said she gonna talk to Brandi and she did it and I was really excited and I was supposed to, talk to Malaysia and we was gonna bring the girls together. So I kind of encouraged her to talk to Brandi and Brandi to talk to her as well because I think that this is a sisterhood and everybody has had arguments, has said mean things to and about each other over the years. And it's not gonna stop. It ain't gonna change. We are passionate women. We feel how we feel. We're not always gonna get along. But at the end of the day, we got to be able to come back together. We got to right our wrongs and we got to move on. Life
Mm,
is, and I tell them all the time, it's important for us to continue on and living by example. What we say we want. I don't want nobody walking around mad at me. If you are, okay, I'm sorry. Let me try to fix it. I'm the first one to say when I'm
yeah.
wrong. My bad. And so I try to encourage that. So I was
Mm. What are you looking forward to? I know we're getting ready to let Jackie go. We've had her for almost an hour here, which has been amazing. She has given us some great relationship advice that literally is that's the real deal. Like you have people come and they'll give you like surface stuff, but this has been some real substantial advice for people that want real lasting relationships. What are you looking forward to us being able to see with all the cast this season? Like I know we're almost halfway in. What's coming up that what teases can you give us for the rest of the season that you can share so that we know just a little scoop. We like a little scoop here at Reality Check.
But you know what? It's some amazing stuff, you guys. Stay tuned. We're just touching the tip of the iceberg. There's going to be relationships that right now is good that ain't going to be good by the end of the season. And when I say that, it's a lot that's going to happen. And you'll have to see if we're able to bring that back together. It's a very long season. It is, it's two parts to it. So the
Okay.
first part, we're halfway through, only the first part. So
Oh,
there's
wow.
that's going to unfold. I can definitely say we're going to Vegas, and that's already been out there. Everybody knows, and that's going to be something. You don't want to miss that. It's just so much. Then we do some other things that people have been able to see the teasers. Watch. I would say VH1 is very strategic. Watch the little teaser clips that they put out, and you'll
Okay.
get like what to expect this season, and it ain't nothing short of everything. To me, I
That
feel
didn't
like
really tell us, Jackie. They didn't give us anything. We need some. We need just get some. Okay, what someone April says. I hope British and Lorenzo are able to be in a better place, and I hope Jen and her guy get closer. I do think that most fans want to see Jennifer in a relationship, or at least on the road to a relationship. Can you give us any little scoop about what we should be looking for in those areas? What about British and Lorenzo, Jen and this new guy that she just was introduced to?
I would say British and Lorenzo will definitely be something to watch because you're going to see an ebb and flow with them. But I won't give away what the end result will be. But you got to always remember Little Dashy. And if you saw her on TV last week and
Yeah.
saying that was handsome stuff, you can imagine if she got anything to do with it, they're going to be okay. But I will say that that's going to be something to watch.
Yeah.
As far as Jennifer and her guy, I don't really, without giving away the show, I don't. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. Um, I say watch it. Tune in to see what happens those two.
Okay. Well, my last question, Jackie, is you've been on the show, like I said, you've been consistent. We've watched you grow. We've watched you acknowledge, whenever you felt like you were wrong, you have been someone that always, says that. And I think that's a sign of maturity and just being comfortable in your skin. It's like none of us are perfect all the time. What is your most memorable moment thus far? And I mean, from the beginning until now, what have you enjoyed the most about being on this franchise?
Oh my God, there's so many, but I would have to say launching my cognac in Paris. I would have to say that was amazing. That group, that production crew, VH1, everybody that was involved in just those 10 days there that we were there, it was one of the best things. And just, being it, that was a lifelong dream, was to realize the cognac and to go there to the, region of cognac in France. And it just was amazing, seeing the next band we painted, to all the different stuff that we did, the lock bridge that's there no more. Me and the girls, I know we was at each other's throat, me and Sunday and British against Malaysia. Yeah. And it's funny because we all flew over together and nobody knew, but we flew all first class, and Malaysia actually came during the flight back to where we were sitting, me and Sunday, and started a fight. And we almost got into it on the plane, but we didn't. No. So when we landed in Europe, all the producers and everybody was already there. And she went up to them, and I told the girls, I said, I'm telling you, I got intuition. I'm telling you, she gonna go and say something. She snuck over to them and told them that we started the trouble plane. And I was like, Malaysia. I couldn't believe it. I would say that was one of the most memorable times, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That is huge. That is huge. Well, let people know where they can tune in if they don't already know, to see you guys. I didn't realize there was another part, so we're just in part 1, which is good. We still got lots of meat to chew on with this season of basketball wise. Let people know when to watch and how to tune in, and of course, how to keep up with you on social media.
Definitely. VH1 Basketball Wives every Monday, 8-7 Central, and you can keep up with me on Instagram or Twitter at Jackie Christie, and I'm now on TikTok. I don't have a lot of followers because I don't know how to do TikTok, but I'm gonna get bigger.
So I believe you will. I believe it'll be just fine, Jackie. I believe that your TikTok audience will soon be just as big as everything else. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on a Friday night, Friday evening here on Reality Check from Rolling Out. We love you. We support you. Please come back and let us know when you have new endeavors that we can support, so we can do that as well.
Thank you so much for having me, and you are adorable.
Thank you. All right. Well, you have a great weekend, and we will definitely be watching on VH1.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out. What a great interview. And I'm telling you, Jackie dropped more gems on relationships than I think some relationship experts that I've had on the show have not dropped gems like Jackie just did. I love the fact that you can tell she is the type of wife that really is invested in her husband and really wants him to be happy, because that is how the marriage stays happy. When both people are trying to make each other happy, that's how things work. So I'm glad that you guys were happy and hung out with me tonight. I will definitely be back on Monday. We have an explosive. We actually have 2 interviews on Monday. So make sure that you are here front and center Monday at 8 p.m. Stay tuned. Make sure that you are subscribed. If you're watching on YouTube, so you can get a notification to remind you to tune in and hang out, because trust me, you don't want to miss these interviews coming up. I love you all for watching. Have a blessed weekend, and I will see you guys next week.